Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with the brand new items over at Pretty Pink Posh. This is part of their August release. To celebrate the release, Pretty Pink Posh is actually having a 3-day long blog hop. Today is day 2, and there is a giveaway to go with the blog hop. So join in the fun. I'll list my blog down below if you want to head on over. I wanted to share with you what's in the release this month. You get 2 brand new stencils. The left is Lattice, and the right is the Halloween candy, which has lots of yummy goodness in it. I like the Lattice background because it's great for any season, any occasion. So that's nice that and new to the shop. There are 3 brand new standalone dies. You have the Boo Shaker, there is the Trick or Treat script here, and there's also the Happy Halloween script. These are perfect for your sentiments on your card, and we're going to use 2 of these today for our projects. I like standalone dies because you can do so much with them. I thought we'd make a shaker card, two shaker cards actually, with that Boo Shaker. There's 3 brand new stamp sets, and you're going to fall in love with them. This is the Halloween Wreath. There's a fun candy-filled wreath. Not just candy, I take that back. There's spiders in there and ghosts. And there's some accent little images and fun sentiments to go with it. This wreath does have a coordinating die set. Oops, I grabbed the wrong set. And it'll cut out the inside of your wreath also, where you could stamp your sentiment if you wanted to. So that is one of the new stamp sets. Again, this is called Halloween Wreath. And then there is another one. If you love the Circles series over at Pretty Pink Posh, you're going to love this set. This is the Halloween Circles. I'm taking them out of the package because the glare from my camera, I just wanted you guys to be able to see the images because they're super adorable. They're in the circles. You have bats and ghosts and spiders and pumpkins and just fun images. And then there is a coordinating die set. I love the coordinating die set for the circle sets because you can interchange with them. There's the Valentine circle, and then there's also the spring circle. And all of these die sets are interchangeable with each of the circle images. So that's super fun. I'm going to put this back in the package, and then we're going to check out our last stamp set, which is probably my favorite because of the versatility of it and just the fact that I love monsters. This set is called Monster Hugs. And the monster images in here are so cute. If you like googly eyes in your cards, this is a perfect stamp set for that. Nice thing about this set is it's for Halloween season, but it'll be great for Valentine's. It will be great for birthday cards too, for young ones. And the sentiments in here are not just Halloween too. There is one that says sending monster hugs. That's the large one. Then you have I like you a lot, and then you also have you're one of a kind. So it'd be great for Valentine's Day too. And then of course there's a coordinating die set. I am going to go ahead and separate my Boo Shaker here, and we are going to grab some white cardstock, and we're going to do a little bit of Boo die cutting. I'm just going to line them up. I'm not going to tape these down. I'm using a larger piece of cardstock because we're also going to die cut out the Trick or Treat script. We'll put that in here too. I'm going to ink blend my paper, so that's why I kept it kind of large. But after I die cut this, I flipped my paper over, added some post-it note tape behind it just to keep the images inside the cardstock while I ink blend. It just makes it easier for me. For my pumpkin, I'm using 3 different shades of oranges. We're starting off with Fired Brick, and I'm just going to go over the bottom. I'm also going to go over under the bottom of Halloween, and I think I should have spaced these a little bit more because I want to be able to ink blend and not run into the other parts of the die cuts. But this is again Fired Brick. I'm going to do a little bit of a gradient. So that's my bottom color. My middle color I'm using Ripe Persimmon. And I'm just using some blending brushes to go over these. And after I have my Ripe Persimmon, I'm going to go with my lightest color, which is Spiced Marmalade, which my ink pad on Spiced Marmalade is not the greatest. The top fabric came off. I think I need to get a new ink pad, but kind of creating a gradient color. And I'm also doing a little bit of shading on the pumpkin face here, and then also the top of my happy. Now once I'm happy with this, I'll use 2 shades of green for the stem of my pumpkin. I'm going to be using Mowed Lawn just for a little bit of highlight, but mostly I used Twisted Citron, and I just used my finger dauber for that. Now once everything's ink blended, I'm not going to add any water to it. I'm just going to use my inks as color. We're going to punch out all the pieces here. I love pumpkins. I'm more of a cutesy Halloween girl more than a scary Halloween girl, so I love this release because everything is super cute. Okay, now I have a panel. This is just a square piece of white cardstock. To create my shaker, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm centering my boo, my pumpkin boo here, and then I'm going to die cut it out, making sure it's in the center. I'm going to use the negative piece, and I'm also going to use the white piece after I die cut it out. I'm adding some glue behind my colored boo pumpkin. Sounds like I'm saying blue pumpkin, but I'm actually saying boo. And then I'm going to slightly offset it on this white one. The white negative piece is going to be my shaker background, and so it's going to have a lot of plain white. So I want to bring some white in the middle of my pumpkin area. So this offsetting it, so a little bit of that white peeking out is going to work for me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some foam adhesive. I trimmed it down to some thin strips, put it behind my pumpkin, and then I'm adding glue on the reverse side of my square here. We're going to add a piece of acetate behind this. This is actually going to be the shaker part. I do want to add a little bit of extra dimension. That's why I added foam adhesive behind my pumpkin shape. After I add my acetate, I'm flipping my panel over and I'm putting my pumpkin right over the top. This way I have a little bit of dimension on the top, and then I have my shaker element on the inside. So to do that, we're going to flip over our panel, and I'm going to add foam tape behind the back of my square. Now, one layer of foam tape it's not going to make your shaker shake very much, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to add just a little bit of shimmer on the inside. Instead of using sequins for my shaker, today I'm going to be using some jewels. So one layer is going to work for me. You can see the front has that little bit of dimension. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add my jewels. The jewels I'm using are Buttercream. Love these because it's like a neutral color. And I'm putting them inside my shaker window. Now, hindsight, at this point, I would go ahead and flip over all of my jewels so that they're facing the window. There's a few in my shaker here that are backwards. You can see the back side of the jewels. It's not that bad, but I wanted a little bit more sparkle, and I think if I would have flipped them around, I would have got that. Now for the back side of my shaker, I'm going to use some pattern paper. I love pattern paper, and I've been kind of on a farmhousey kind of a look. I'm getting ready for fall at home, and so I love the farmhouse look. So that's what I'm going for both my cards today. This pattern paper is a plaid that has black and reds in it and white. I think it's nice against the orangey colors. So I just added that behind it. I made it smaller than my square, so the foam tape on the edges is exposed, so it's just going to adhere to my card base. My card base I created with orange cardstock, and I'm adding adhesive to it, and then we'll just add our shaker right in the center. Now squares, you could open the flap on the top, the left if you want. I'm going to have a top heavy card, so I opted to have the opening flap on top. So once that's adhered, I want to go ahead and work on my second project. I took that same orange cardstock that I used for my first card base and die cut out my boo shaker one more time. the nice thing about the boo shaker too, guys, is it has stitch detail. So it's just not a plain pumpkin. There's stitch detail, which makes it really, really nice. Now, I die cut out my Happy Halloween, and I'm going to replace the boo with Happy Halloween. Nice thing about the boo is you could trim out that boo and then add your pumpkin face on the inside if you wanted to. And you saved your die cut boo because you could use that for another card. So we'll just set that aside. But it's awful pretty font. Basically, we're going to put our Happy Halloween on the inside, just replacing the boo that we snipped out. And I'm going to create a shaker with this as well, only this time I'm adding acetate behind my pumpkin. I used my scissors and just trimmed around it. I adhered it and then trimmed around it, added my Happy, and then I'm also going to add my Halloween here. I'm using my grid lines to make sure it's kind of centered. Now I'm keeping my negative piece of orange cardstock here. We're going to use that in just a minute. I am adding one layer of foam tape behind my acetate window, and we're going to set that aside. I'm bringing in a piece of white cardstock. The white cardstock size is, I think it's 3 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, so it's smaller than the first card. I'm adding you saw that I used my negative piece as a mask, and I'm just adding a little bit of vintage photo on the bottom. I wanted a little bit of color in the background, but not too much. I'm going to use my same buttercream jewels and put it directly on my white square here. This time I am going to take my jewel picker and just flip them all around so we have that shine instead of the back side of the jewels. I'm going to go ahead and add my shaker right over the top, and I have a few on top that need to be pushed in. And for the stem on this, I brought in 2 green Copic markers and just did a little shading over that orange cardstock. It was the easiest way. I was going to use my pumpkin my pumpkin face, but decided not to. I'm just going to stick with some simple Happy Halloween and a boo sentiment for my card. I had leftover piece of my pattern paper. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the bottom of another card base that I created with that same orange cardstock. My card bases are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. So this will fit in a standard A2 size envelope if you want. There's going to be lots of room left over, but it does fit in an A2 envelope. So now we need to add some special touches. They kind of look plain for me. We're going to doctor them up using some ribbon. I have some brown and black gingham ribbon. I'm just going to tie 2 bows. I'm going to just make them a little bit small, even out the bottoms, and then trim off the excess that's overhanging. I don't want them too big, but I want them big enough to go over the stem of our pumpkin. I'm going to do the same thing to our other pumpkin. We're going to adhere them with some glue dots to make it easier. If you want to use glue, you very well could, but I think glue dots. I think this is the perfect size. It's just a little bit smaller than the pumpkin width. Okay, after we have both of our bows created, I want to bring in a little bit of texture. To do that, I'm using some natural twine. I think I picked this twine up in my local hardware store. It was like $1 for a roll of it. Not really a roll, a ball of it. But what I'm doing is just tying a knot. I looped it and then tied a knot. So I have 2 strings, a knot, and then the loop on top. This is just I wanted some string hanging below the bow, and then I wanted a loop on top. Just a little piece of twine like this added to your projects really create a farmhouse or a country look. So I went ahead, and then I like the brown here too. I'm going to adhere these first, just using some of my glue dots that are sticking to my hand here. We're going to add one more right on top, and then I'm going to add the bow. I'm adding the bow just below the knot. I want the knot to show, and then the strings show behind it or underneath it. I did that to both of my cards. Now next, we're almost done. I just want to add a couple more things. I have 2 different shades of green cardstock. I'm trimming down some very, very thin strips. I think the thinner the better what this is. And then we're going to curl them. First I broke the paper by running my nail over those thin strips. And then I'm taking a paintbrush, the very top of my paintbrush, and I'm just adding the paper, twisting it around the barrel of my paintbrush. I chose a paintbrush because it was thinner than a pen. And I'm just wrapping it around, holding it in place. And just, it curls on its own after you break the paper when it's really little like this. And I'm just creating some little curly cues with both different colors of green cardstock. Now of course if you're going to add this to your cards, it will flatten definitely in your envelopes. But if you're going to hand this without an envelope, I just think it's adorable. I'm going to go ahead and add a glue dot just below the knot on the bow. And then I'm going to add my little green curly cues, 1 of each. And I'm making sure I cover that glue dot with both the ends of these. And I just think the curly cues on these little pumpkins just add so much. I love the green just pops against those neutral colors, and it just adds a little bit of fun to your cards. But those are my projects today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the brand new Pretty Pink Posh August release. Please join us for the blog hop. I think you'll be really inspired. It's a short blog hop. And then I also list day 1 of the blog hop over on my blog if you want to check out more inspiration from day 1. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a lovely day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.